Well, all right. And the last question is from Chanel Yang of ChanelYang.com. She wanted to know. Did you need to get
Sorry,
that?
my phone's
That's
ringing.
fine.
Sorry, I'm giving to my wife. Hi, Eva. So, anyway, yeah,
Okay,
go ahead.
okay, that's fine. No, hey,
Chanel?
this is
Hi,
all about
Chanel.
this is all about live video right here. This is great. Okay, ChanelYang.com, Chanel Yang. What is the most common mistake you see new bloggers making today, and what do you advise to correct it?
Uh, well, a lot of times little mistakes. You know, it's hard to say because there's just like one thing. I mean, one thing that really bothers me is when I go to a new blog. I'm always checking out new blogs. I mean, we all are, I think.
Right.
And so you go to a new blog, and again, first of all, if you go through and you can't find that useful content, you go through the first page, and let's say there's 10 posts or 5 posts on that page, and you can't find anything that really grabs you,
Mm-hmm.
then you're not going to stick around.
Right.
So remember that the first impression that the reader gets when they first visit your site is important. And you want them to see regular posts, all the way from the top of your page down to the bottom of really good, eye-catching, useful stuff.
Yep.
And so again, that's one thing. Another thing, though, is if you've been posting for a few months, you probably got, a few dozen posts up there, or maybe just, a couple dozen. But if you've been posting for 6 months to a year, you've definitely got dozens of posts. And a new reader is not going to go through your whole archive by going page by page,
No.
from previous page, previous posts.
Right.
Keep clicking on that. So I always tell people, put your best posts out on your sidebar, because when I go to new blogs, I hate having to look for their best posts because I want to see, is this a good blog? Is this worthy of me coming back? And that's, I think, what every reader does when they first go to a new blog. Is this worthy of my time, of me bookmarking it or subscribing or at least remembering to come back to it every once in a while? And so they want to see your best stuff right there in the sidebar. So have your top 10 posts or your essential posts, or even dedicate a whole page to it so they can click on that page and say, okay, here's the essential Zen Habits posts. And so I've actually just been, I learned that early on, but I've been redoing, how I do that. And so I have at the bottom a whole bunch of things, and then I have a beginner's guide to Zen Habits, and, recently I did my essential post of 2008. You always want to make that the best stuff accessible. And so sometimes you gotta do a whole post just on either your best of the month or best of the year or just some things that you might have missed last year.
Okay, so basically, I guess what you're kind of saying is that if you go to a new blog, you don't necessarily assume that their best content just happened to have been posted that week, but you expect that within a couple minutes you can find that best stuff or some of the high quality content fairly quickly, and if you have to sift through lots and lots of stuff to get there, then that either says A, they don't have a well-designed site, or B, they just don't have very much quality content. So yeah, that makes total sense.
So yeah, you got to think of what the first impression of a new reader is coming to your blog, because most people coming to your blog are new readers, and you want them to stick around. So how do you keep them there? And so again, blog design is I think maybe not the most important thing, but it is crucial to that first impression. If you have too much clutter and their ads are screaming at them, that kind of throws them off or makes them not want to stick around.
Right.
So that's one. Another is, again, the useful content going up and down the front page, and to show that you regularly post useful content. Another one, again, is the essential posts either on the sidebar or another page. Somehow incorporate that. But again, just kind of look at it. What does the first impression of the reader, how does that impact them and on whether they're going to stick around or not? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Oh, no, it makes total sense.
I think a lot of bloggers don't think about that. They just want to kind of put their stuff out there, but they don't think about what the impression is of the reader.
Right. Exactly.
You got to look at it from that perspective.
Exactly. And I was going to say, there are a lot of great like top comments or top hits or whatever plugins that you can put in that will automatically fill your sidebar with, popular stuff. The only thing I found bad about that is a lot of times you'll get, say, maybe some stumble upon traffic on some of your posts, and maybe it wasn't really the greatest post, but it just happened to do well on stumble upon. Sometimes I've had like 2,000 hits on a post that was okay. So if with that plugin, it would have been like at the very top of the list, and it's not necessarily a post I would want to say this is my best stuff. So, yeah, maybe handpicking is the way to go, but there are plugins that do that as well.
Another thing that, to go back to the question of what mistakes new bloggers make, one is that I always see, I see a lot, is focusing on blogging rather than your content. So a new blogger is excited about, blogging.
Right.
Even though they might be blogging about parenting or health or motivation or whatever, right? So they're reading a lot of stuff on blogging, and so they naturally tend to write about it.
Right.
Even though that's not what their blog is about.
Yeah.
And so I always see that as people want to blogging because they're passionate about it right now. And so their blog ends up becoming mixed. And what they need to do is not think so much about their perspective, but also from the reader's perspective. And the reader came to your blog because you're writing great stuff about a certain topic.
Right.
And when you start mixing blogging into that, they might not be bloggers. They might not care about that. So they're going to skip over those. But the more of those that they have to skip over, the harder it is for them. And so you got to really think about what the reader is coming to your site for, what they're interested in. And sometimes, obviously on Blog Obelisk Blueprint, they're interested in blogging.
Right.
But
Let's hope.
And some of the readers on Zen Habits are also interested in blogging, but not all of them are.
Right.
And so in the early days, I would post about blogging, and a lot of people are like, I'm not a blogger.
Right.
I don't care about this. So I stopped doing that, and I created a whole other blog for it. So.
Yep.
And that ends up being what a lot of bloggers do is they'll say, they'll do another blog for blogging after because they want to write about it. They're so passionate about it.
Yeah. Well, and not only that, but it's one of those things where we can't get away from the fact that I would definitely say that a majority of the blog readers are also either bloggers or at least interested in the subject. So it does make sense. But I totally agree. You don't want to mix your contents. Not only everything else you said, but I think it also will tend to water down the content that's not about blogging because it's not purely about the subject. So I agree. That's a great point. Well, Leo, I really appreciate you taking your time again. I've learned a whole lot just from talking to you about this. It's always great from somebody who's kind of been there, done that, been very successful already, to kind of hear what's helped you grow. So thank you so much for sharing that.
I've enjoyed talking about it, and I could probably talk about this stuff all day.
Oh, I know.
Fun to talk about.
It is. It's very fun to talk about. All right. Well, I hope maybe we'll see you down the road again. And definitely, everybody, Sean and I will put some links down, with your blogs and your book and everything. I hope the best for The Power of Less. I hope everybody does buy it and share it with their family. And it's definitely a great content-filled book. Were you going to say something?
Well, first of all, I just want to wish you the best of luck with this Blog Obelisk Blueprint. I think a lot of people are going to get a lot of useful stuff out of it. Also, on a related note, I talked about my blog, writetodone.com.
Yes.
And me and Mary, the editor there, we're putting together something that a lot of bloggers might be interested in, which is kind of a course on blogging similar to what you're doing. And I hope, the two of them can complement each other.
Absolutely.
But, it's called A-List Blogging Bootcamp. And that should be coming out in the next month or two.
Okay.
So I don't have a definite date right now, but look out for that.
Absolutely, and let us know. Let us know when it comes out. We'll definitely have to put a link up for that and everything down the road. But that sounds obviously, like I said, you have a lot of great advice on blogging, so I'm sure it'll be an awesome blog. So looking forward to that as well. So okay, well, it was great talking to you, and I will definitely see you around. And once again, just appreciate taking the time to do this interview.
Well, thanks for interviewing me.
All right. You have a good day, man.
Okay.
All right.
Take care.
All right, you too.